Hello everyone and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga. Bayern Munich are 4 points clear at the top of the table, but it's the middle of January and the title race is still alive. We're here to bring you every game of Matchday 18 in the Bundesliga, providing tips and predictions for every single game. But we want to hear from you as well. Simply leave a comment in the comment section below for your chance to win a £10 free bet from Novibet. Simply tell us what you're betting on this weekend for your chance to participate. Don't forget to like this channel, subscribe to it, and also hit the bell to make sure you don't miss any of our daily uploads across the sports betting community. Now, let's get on with the show. So Bayern Munich topped the table by 4 points, but this season's Bundesliga seems a little bit more open than previous years. With us today to analyse and preview every game of match week 18 is German football and betting expert Radek Vegas. Hello and welcome.
Hey Tom, how are you? Looking forward to the 18th game day and round 18 in the Bundesliga. Let's go.
It's flying by, isn't it? We start with a bit of a good game. It's Gladbach versus Borussia Dortmund. It's probably not the fiercest of all the derbies in Germany with the Borussen derby. Gladbach 7th, 1 defeat in 10, but only 5 wins in those games. They are 4 games unbeaten and they're edging closer and closer to those Champions League spots. Dortmund, on the other hand, they are in 4th in that final spot there, but things were looking brighter for them with wins over Wolfsburg and Leipzig, but then they drew with Mainz, which is clearly an oh dear, but then they lost to out of form Leverkusen last week. Dortmund are faves here at 2.35, but how do you see it, Radek?
That's kind of hard to predict because my first impression is to bet on a draw here, as I always say, if you don't have a clue who's the better team. And in this case, if you ask me to give a result, I would bet on 1-1 or 2-2. And that's why Dortmund is a kind of a roller coaster. They're up and down, they are beating Wolfsburg and Leipzig, but only draw against Mainz, and even lost the very important game against Leverkusen a few days ago. So Gladbach didn't do too well for them, and win against Werder Bremen with just 1-0. That is not a really brilliant result for a team who wants to play in Champions League and is playing in the Champions League in this season. So you hardly know how this will end. It can go to every direction, and if the game seems to be balanced, the favorite odds are a bad thing, and that's why I won't support Dortmund here. And we can have a look on Asian handicap on the underdog, which is Gladbach at home. But I like most the odds of 3.8 on a draw, because I think draws have the most value in close games, and that's why this would be my recommendation.
Okay, that's a draw in the Borussian derby to kick off Friday. Into Saturday's action, we've got Arminia Bielefeld against Eintracht Frankfurt. Bielefeld are 15th, just 1 defeat in their last 4, and also 3 wins from 5. So that's pretty good form. They're actually only 2 points off Hoffenheim, up in 11th. And sort of importantly, that they're beating the teams that are sort of out of form, with the likes of Hertha, Stuttgart, and obviously Schalke. Eintracht, on the other hand, they're 8th. They've won 4 of their last 5, drawing the other, so that's brilliant form. They've really turned their season around after a string of draws earlier in the season. And of course, they've got their fan favourite and 2019 top goal scorer Luka Jovic back at the club.
Yeah, this is a great thing for Frankfurt, because Jovic is a international class player, not to say world class, because he didn't manage to made it at Real Madrid. But for Eintracht Frankfurt, he's for sure a huge key player. Yeah, you mentioned that Arminia Bielefeld is really doing good and that they beat Stuttgart 3-0. This is an amazing result for them because till then they only scored about 10 goals and now 3 goals in one game. And the last games also were a good impression of Arminia Bielefeld. So I think yeah, we shouldn't underrate them in this game. On the other hand, Frankfurt is one of the best teams in the Bundesliga. It's hard to win against Frankfurt. They only lost 2 games, and the draw against Freiburg, yeah, is also not a bad result. So considering the strength of the roster and the comeback of Jovic, I would tend to think Frankfurt is the better team. But the odds of 1.8 are not that much value to bet on them. It's on the edge. If they would have 1.9, I would say yes, we can do it, but 1.8 is a bit too small here. On the other hand, betting on Arminia Bielefeld is a kind of dangerous. As I said, they had only 10 goals, and against a team like Eintracht Frankfurt, it's almost impossible for them to win, I think. And we can be aware of a draw here as well, but in a normal, regular Bundesliga situation, it's a win for Frankfurt with 1 or 2 goals in advantage. But it's too hot for me to bet against Arminia Bielefeld at the moment.
Okay, well, that's an interesting one, and certainly one that's going to be a tight game, that's for sure. If we look now into Augsburg versus Union, Augsburg, they're 12th, but they've got 4 defeats in their last 5. Their only win was a narrow 1-0 win over Cologne. Also, they've only scored just twice in 5 games, so they've really struggled from the Christmas period onwards. In huge contrast to that, we've got Union up in 6th, only 1 league defeat in 7. That was last time out against Leipzig, so there's really no shame there. So I've got 2 questions for you, Radek. So the first question is, are Union Berlin everyone's second favourite team in Germany now? And are the odds of 2.13 on a Union victory too good to turn down?
Yeah, first thing maybe, second question definitely, because they are surprising and amazing. Nobody expected them to play in this style. Now they lost the game, okay, yeah, strong opponent with Leipzig here, close game as well. No shame on this. On the other hand, it's always a problem to bet on favorites in regular things, and especially when it's coming to Union Berlin, because yeah, they are not always a clear favorite. They have to fight hard for every point, and that's why I don't see them as clear favorite here. Augsburg was really bad within the last games, and if they wouldn't have just lost against Bayern Munich with 1 goal, I would say, yeah, the odds on Union Berlin are good enough to bet on them. But maybe this game against Bayern Munich was a kind of wake-up call for Augsburg to, yeah, get better in the standings. I always say that Augsburg has a lot of potential. They have really good players, especially in the attacking lines, and that's why I always think that Augsburg may be a bit stronger than the bookies rate them. In this case, I have a problem to bet on Union Berlin. I would also consider this as a draw, but yeah, also everything can happen. And on the other hand, it's questionable if the Augsburg coach Heiko Herrlich won't be fired until this game, because he lost about I think 4 games in a row, and it's no shame to lose against Bayern Munich only with 1-0, but he is not reaching the team. He's not a big motivator for them anymore, and that's why he's criticized a lot. And in my opinion, Augsburg needs a better coach, but if they changed in this position before this game, I'm not sure. Maybe this could be his last game if Augsburg loses this game. So we will see. Maybe the team wants another coach, then Union Berlin wins. Maybe the team now is getting better and they playing for their coach. So we have to wait for this game. I think it's not the best idea to bet on this.
Okay, so no bet there, but also if you wanted to go for a draw, you can get into odds of 3.62. But yeah, it's how the players perform, and they certainly haven't been doing that since Christmas. So up next is a really good game. Bayern Leverkusen against Wolfsburg. Leverkusen, obviously they're the home side. Was their title challenge the shortest in living memory? That's the question. They were top, and then suddenly they really weren't. 3 defeats in the last 5, plus a draw, really did sort of end their title hopes. But they still got a really important win against Dortmund last time out. So that's interesting to see that. Wolfsburg, on the other hand, they've been sitting in or around those European spots all season, and clearly a decent side to be there at the halfway point of the campaign. Just 2 away wins from their last 11 in all competitions. Do you think this run will be extended at the Bayer Arena?
A lot of different aspects here to consider, because I don't think it's a game of home or away. I think this is not a key here, what Wolfsburg did in the past on away pitches. And I think we have to respect what Wolfsburg does in the whole season, and that they only conceded 19 goals, that they are really tough to beat. Even Leipzig didn't win against them. They are 5th in the standing. I think they belong there, and I think they are almost equal to Leverkusen. Now Leverkusen was beating Dortmund. I didn't expect that, and they had some not so good games before that. And it's a clear thing to watch at the odds, because you get 2.1 on Leverkusen, which is a big favorite odd on a team who is not that much better than Wolfsburg. So I think we have a value on the Asian handicap on Wolfsburg. If we go with Asian handicap plus 5 or plus 0.5 on Wolfsburg, we get odds of 1.85 around, which means double chance on Wolfsburg, draw or win Wolfsburg, and you get odds of 1.85. I think this is a good option. For sure, and every bet is good or bad luck, and you can. It's a game where everything can happen, and Leverkusen for sure can win this game. I think it's most likely a draw, and I like the value on Wolfsburg here, so that would be my bet.
Okay, great. We've got a tight one to follow that with Freiburg against Stuttgart. Freiburg in 9th. They had a wonderful vein of form with 5 wins in a row, but then obviously lost to Bayern, which is fair enough. But then they drew with Eintracht. Stuttgart, they're 10th. These are two sides who are very close together in the table, but they've just won 1 of their last 6. They're gradually moving down the table from their very impressive start to the season. But I think they'll have enough to stay up. But this is going to be quite a tough one to call, I think. Odds of 2.66 for the home side, 2.6 for the away. So are you going down the middle here with the draw?
For sure. I don't want to bore the audience here. Sorry for that. It's not that I'm not sure what to do. I always think if it's obvious that there will no winner or every team can win, it's a good decision to bet on draw if you are thinking like an investor. Where do you get the most of your money? What is most likely? Where are the probabilities? It is not that likely that Freiburg wins the game or Stuttgart wins the game. That is what the bookmakers give us equal odds, each team of 2.6. And on the other hand, you have odds of around 4 on a draw. That means 25% of probability that there will be a draw. I think the probability is way higher between these teams, because they are not only close in the standings, they are close in the space. The cities are not far away, so it's a kind of a derby in the southern Baden-Württemberg of Germany. And I think Freiburg does a really great job. 2-2 against Frankfurt is a good result. On the other hand, Stuttgart did a lot of good games and now lost against Bielefeld with 3-0, what was way too high. And that's why everything leads to a draw, and this is the most value here, I think. Maybe Freiburg has a little bit of advantage if you want to bet on an Asian handicap or double chance on one team. I would prefer Freiburg because of they won, I think, 2 games. No, the pre-round game against Stuttgart in the first game day, 3-2 for Freiburg. But in the cup game, I think Stuttgart won, but also close, and 1-0. I think it's really hard to predict here, and small advantage for Freiburg maybe because of the more clever coach maybe and the more experience. But at the end, good thing to bet on a draw.
Okay, great. A draw it is for that one as well. Mainz versus RB Leipzig is the next game to look at. Clearly, these are two sides at opposite ends of the table. Mainz 17th, just 1 win all season. They're 8 points from that relegation playoff place. It's a huge gap to be able to make up for a side with just 7 points to their name all season. Leipzig, on the other hand, title challengers. They're 4 points behind Bayern. This is clearly a must-win game for Nagelsmann's side. And they're clearly favourites here, and that's reflected in the odds of 1.47. So where do we find the value for this game? Is it in the Asian handicap? What do you think here?
Yeah, as you said, it's a must-win and a clear win for Leipzig. But the problem with Leipzig is that they didn't win any game with Asian handicap of -1 or -1.5 within the last 10 games. Just speculation, no stats in my head. Because they are always struggling against any team. They are playing good against the good teams, and they are doing only what they have to do against the bad teams. And that's why I kind of expect the same here against Mainz. Remember, Leipzig only won with 1 goal against Bielefeld, only a 0-0 against Cologne, and these teams are comparable with Mainz, and that's why I'm aware to say, huge 5-0 win of Leipzig, which is for sure possible. But to bet on it, it's another thing, because the odds are a little bit too small, and that's why we hardly find any value on favorites like Leipzig in the Bundesliga in this season and in the last 5 seasons maybe. So you can lose more with bets on favorites than you can win. On the other hand, no considering to bet anything on Mainz, and that's why hands off.
Okay, great. Into the next game. It's another game between two sides very close to one another in the standing. It's Hertha Berlin versus Werder Bremen. Hertha 14th, 1 win in 7 for the capital club. Their home form is marginally better. They haven't scored in any of their last 3 league games, and the man they signed to fire them up the table, Christoph Piatek, has really not hit those heights expected. 13th are Werder Bremen, another very patchy club. They have deservedly lost quite a few games this season, but they could end up mid-table if they pick up their form and find some consistency. Hertha are 2.25 to win this game, but I wouldn't be confident putting my money anywhere. What about you?
Yeah, same. And maybe it's more likely to bet on Werder Bremen because they show a kind of uptrend. I know they lost against Gladbach, but this is not Yeah, with 1-0. Yeah, it's not a bad result against a Champions League contender. On the other hand, I don't understand why Hertha Berlin is not firing their coach after not scoring 3 games in a row with that potential and brilliant attackers they have on the name list. And their coach Bruno Labbadia was a good striker when he was playing at Bayern Munich, at Cologne in the 90s, and also for Werder Bremen. And he is not really the right coach at the right moment for Hertha Berlin, obviously. And maybe you know that Hertha Berlin is the capital club, and they have a big investor who put millions in the club and will put millions in the club. So they want to go to the international spots, and they have to go to the international spots because of their value of 250 millions in players. And that's why they are really disappointing us week by week. Now they had another loss against a team where they shouldn't have a loss at so high, 3-0 against Hoffenheim. And that's why the momentum is kind of on the side of Werder Bremen. That's just what I would do if I won't look at my money and just make some predictions or results in a tip game without money. I would bet on maybe 2-1 on Werder Bremen, but I won't put my money on them. So that's another no bet.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Into Sunday's action, we've got a game that's pretty grim reading for the Schalke fans. It's Schalke bottom. It's nothing really more to be said that hasn't already been said. They're going to be relegated, and it's a huge task here against the defending German and European champions Bayern. Clearly, this is another game that they should and really need to win. Schalke odds of 15.0 to win at home, whilst Bayern are 1.22. What are your thoughts on this one? Should we bet on this one? Where should our viewers put their money?
Yeah, and we can make it quick. The first game in the season between them was 8-0 for Bayern Munich. And it seems not much improved for Schalke after they have their 4th coach now, and in 1 year, and had this huge series of losses and not winnings. And for sure, it's no value on both sides. So wouldn't be surprised if Bayern only wins with 1 or 2 goals. So to bet on Asian handicap on Bayern Munich here, you don't get good odds of 1.87 if Bayern wins with 2 goals in advantage. For sure, in a regular game, every time a good thing. But Bayern didn't prove that they are really thrashing their opponents in the last games. And I think they are happy if they don't have to play 100%. If they have to play 50% and win easily with 1 or 2 goals, it's enough. So that's why I'm not supporting Bayern here. And on the other hand, you have nothing to expect of Schalke. And that's why, unfortunately, I don't see any value. If you see value, then put it in the comments, and I'm interested to read it.
Absolutely, yeah. If any of the viewers think that this is a goer, please let us know, and we'll definitely look into it. The final game of match week 18 is Hoffenheim against Cologne. Hoffenheim are 11th, but they're only a few points off that relegation playoff place. And actually, they conceded the 3rd most in the Bundesliga. So they need to keep up some form to stay afloat. Cologne, on the other hand, they're 16th, but actually their recent form has been pretty good. They've won 3 and drawn another out of their last 5, including wins over Dortmund. They drew Leipzig. So, Hoffenheim are the favourites here with the bookies at 1.89, but that seems quite generous, actually. What do you think?
Everyone who's kind of new into betting can play a game, and don't look at the odds. What would you say, which result is most likely in this game? And I would say Hoffenheim is way better than Cologne, and that's why I would give Hoffenheim odds of 1.6, 1.7. The bookies give them odds of 1.9. That is why Hoffenheim was not too brilliant within the last games, but they won the last game against Hertha with 3-0. And I think that this is a kind of beginning of an uptrend for Hoffenheim because of their potential. They have one of the best strikers in the Bundesliga with Andre Kramaric, and if Kramaric is on shape, what he's obviously is, then Hoffenheim is a team for the first half of the standings of the table, maybe even for the European slots. And he was missed a lot of the games, and that's why Hoffenheim was struggling and is not there where they belong. On the other hand, Cologne had really luck to win against another bad team like Schalke, and they are still struggling in my opinion. And another team both teams where the coach is not the best decision in my opinion, but Hoffenheim has way more potential than Cologne. That's why I would accept this 1.9 on Hoffenheim and bet on it.
Okay, great. And of course, Kramaric is now back for Hoffenheim, so maybe he'll be the man to put Cologne to the sword this week. Well, that's all the games of match week 18 covered. Thank you very much for your time, Radek, and hopefully we get some winners.
Yeah, looking forward. Have a good one. Good luck, everybody, and see you next time.
Thank you. So, plenty of draws expected this weekend over in Germany, plus 2 must-win games for Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig. But we want to know what you're betting on this weekend. For your chance to win a £10 free bet from Novibet, simply comment below what you're betting on and you'll be in the draw. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and also hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications of our uploads on a daily basis. Best of luck for this weekend, and we'll see you next time for Odds On Bundesliga.